Just shortly before midnight last night, a carload of children, and when I say children, I mean youth, 17 and 18 years old, were driving here on Dufief Mill at a high rate of speed. They lost control of the vehicle, went through and hit several fixed objects to include trees and a fence, and came to final rest upside down in the driveway of the residence, as you can see right behind me. Upon doing our investigation, we were able to identify that these youth were coming from an underage drinking party prior to this event, and it read consistent with me of that of some of our previous collisions that we've had, where we have once again an underage drinking related tragedy. Our collision reconstruction unit and our alcohol initiatives unit are still conducting investigations on the facts and circumstances surrounding both the party as well as the collision. So I'm really limited to how much information that I can give you at this time. But I felt it was really important that we take a few minutes and we talk about the issues associated with underage drinking and these teen-related tragedies, because it was quite clear to us that speed, alcohol, and a lack of seat belts by the backseat passengers were directly related or factors involved in the collision of this nature. As you know, in September of 1994, we lost two young ladies on River Road, a short distance relatively away from here, in which we had an underage drinking party, speed were primary factors. In the 20 years since then, the police department has had a full-time alcohol unit in an effort to try to prevent these tragedies from occurring. But it's very sad that we're here today in 2015 dealing with the exact same facts and circumstances. So it's really important that we get the message out through you, the media, that these tragedies will continue until we stop enabling underage drinking. Speed is always a factor in these collisions, but it starts with what are your kids doing at night? Are they drinking or not? Being actively involved as parents, having those courageous conversations, and making sure that you have those conversations with your kids, so at the bottom line they come home safe. We know that teens and 17 and 18 years old, they're in their risk-taking years. But that doesn't stop us as parents of having these conversations, because good kids make bad decisions, and when they are involving alcohol, they oftentimes deal with tragedy. So, if you want your kids to come home safely, you're going to have to talk to them and take the initiative ahead of time. Speed, as I said, was a factor. It's quite appropriate that we're here at a school. As you know, this is a speed camera road, but speed cameras are turned off on weekends and at nights in school zones. So, but it's going to take more than speed cameras to stop these tragedies, and speed cameras don't do anything with alcohol-related events. Once again, these are good kids that made a bad decision and compounded in 2 deaths and 1 child still in critical condition at a local hospital. With that, I might as well just go ahead and let you ask the questions, because I think there's really not a whole lot of general information I can provide.
Captain, I don't. There are about 2 or 3 Go Cubs by the driveway where this occurred. Black plastic Go Cubs. Do you know if they're related in any way?
I don't know about the cups themselves, but there were alcoholic beverage found in the vehicle.
What? Tell us about that.
Well, as I said, this is we know from our preliminary investigation that they were coming from a party in which alcohol was served. We're still looking into who was drinking and how much. But the bottom line is they had access to alcohol because we found beverage containers that were still chilled to the touch at the collision scene.
Can you tell us where that party occurred and if police went there and if citations needed?
I can tell you that it's in North Potomac at this time. We're still actively investigating it, so I'm not going to disclose the location. There were a few citations issued, but the party was not active at the time that we arrived at the scene.
Were there adults there at the house?
When officers did respond to the front door, there was an adult present at the scene, but we're still investigating the facts and circumstances to the adult's activity at the party.
Were there airbags in the Acura? Did they deploy?
There were airbags in the Acura. They did deploy, and the front seat driver and passenger appears to have been restrained. Unfortunately, once again, the rear seat passengers did not appear to be restrained, and they were both found deceased at the scene.
Could we see arrests of people who were at that house with that party as a result of the investigation?
Well, it's too early to tell what it is. We will, we are known for being very aggressive in trying to conduct enforcement with underage drinking, mostly to prevent these tragedies. But we will continue to follow up as our investigation continues and work with the state's attorney's office to issue the charges that they feel are appropriate.
And what are the charges?
Any idea
What are
how
the
many
penalties?
kids were at the party?
Okay, one at a time.
Do you have any idea how many teenagers were at the party?
No, as I said, by the time we got there, the party had kind of concluded, so we're still under investigation about that.
And what kind of charges could you face if you had served alcohol to these minors?
Well, the standard charges for underage drinking deal with furnishing alcohol or adult responsibilities. Under Maryland law, if an adult is at the residence and a reasonable person would assume that they should know or should have known that there was underage drinking, they can be charged whether they actively participate or not. And we had this law passed, and I think it was like 1996, where we had parents that would essentially hide out upstairs and try to have plausible deniability because if they didn't actively participate. And the General Assembly recognized that, homeowners have a responsibility for their residents, and the adult responsibility was made law.
Do you know where they were heading at the time of the crash?
I believe at this time they were beginning to take the occupants home. The occupants live in this. One of the occupants lives in this general area, so it appears that they were heading towards the direction of some or one of the houses.
Do you know Mr. Ellis's BAC at this time?
No, we don't know at this time. It's under investigation.
Can we confirm the kids were at Wooten High School as students?
What we believe at this point that all the students were either graduates or attended Wooten High School.
What high school is that?
Excuse me?
What high school?
Wooten High School. And just like the River Road, that was Whitman High School. So, I mean, this is, an area which, has plenty of resources and beautiful houses, and they have a lot of access to alcohol. So we have increased responsibility to make sure that we work to keep our kids safe and get them to come home at night. Any other questions?
It looks like there was another accident just down the road. Is there a safety issue with this road?
Well, it's not a matter of a safety issue, it's a speeding problem. And as we said, we recognized this years ago. As you look right behind me, you'll see that this is a speed camera corridor, which we have authorized the placement of speed cameras. But in 2009, the General Assembly passed a law that required speed cameras to be turned off on weekends after 8 o'clock at night. This collision occurred at 11:52 on Friday night. So speed cameras by state law have to be turned off. And the purpose of when we initially had the speed cameras put in 2007, it was that school zones need to be safety zones. And we recognize the fact that maybe students aren't here, but the community surfaces around here. So, we recognize this is a roadway that has potential for speeding, And as such, we can only do the best that we can do. We have to work within the confines of the law.
And the car was going south, right? Was it
Car
going-
was coming up this direction.
So it was going, this is south.
No, I believe this is south. Yeah, it was south or west, depending on how you want to play it.
Southwest.
So they were coming as the white car is, and you can see from behind me, it hit the tree, the fence, and went into the front yard of that residence.
Just to correct, you said it happened 11:52 Friday night and Thursday.
Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. Sorry about that. I'm already ready for the weekend.
And how
The
long have they
condition
been
of the
driving?
the driver or someone. I mean, you said somebody's still critical. Is someone?
The driver is still in the hospital with critical life-threatening injuries, as our last report was unveiled.
And the other passenger.
We believe he was released.
And who reported the accident? Were the homeowners home at the time?
Yes, and yes, the homeowners.
Was the alcohol beer?
Yes,
So it was beer containers you found in the car?
yes.
And do you know how long they were on the road before they hit that?
Still under
From the underage party to where they were?
still under investigation.
About how far a drive would that have been leaving the party?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't plotted it out in the map.
It appears that they had hit the brakes there just before going into the curve. Do you have an estimate on how far they actually skidded?
I wouldn't say your assessment is correct. I would say it's still under investigation. There are tire marks. That doesn't mean they're braking marks, and we're still trying to estimate the speed. But we know that speed is a factor in a 30-mile-an-hour road.
And the car went airborne, right?
It appears by the initial damage on the height of the tree that was a factor, but it's still under investigation.
What do you know about the driver's driving record? How long he's had his license?
We haven't pulled that up yet. We just know that he's 18 years old, and as we've talked about for many, many years, being 18 years old, their brain is still under development, and alcohol affects the frontal lobe where decision making is. So it's really alcohol with teens is just a deadly combination in this case, literally.